called miscommunication. And in our world, miscommunication costs us greatly. It costs us in time, in money, in relationships. It is costly in every area of our life, whether it be at work or at home, at school, at the store. Every area of our life, miscommunication is costly. So I'm even going to put percentages on this, because when it comes to the communication, the words account for 7% of our communication, the tone 38%, and the body language approximately 55% of that communication. So if I want to necessary, I need to lower my miscommunication. Do you follow me? So if I'm going to lower my miscommunication, where is the most cost-effective way to work on my miscommunication? The body language, absolutely. So this is why you all online have made such a wise decision to be here this morning, because this is the piece we're going to focus on. I am not going to give you any vocabulary tests. I am not going to teach you how to diagram sentences, but I am going to teach you about your body language. Because if I want to improve my results, I want to do it the fastest way I can. Because my question for you right now is, do any of you have any area of your life you would like to improve? Okay, if you don't, then please pretend not to listen for the whole class. Because the things that I teach you about body language, you can apply to any area of your life. And so if you don't want anything to be different, then don't change the things I'm going to show you. Because the thing that's crazy is, if you change your behavior, your results will also change. So if you want better results, you got to change that behavior. And the fastest, most efficient way to change our behavior is actually in this piece right here, in our body language. Because our body language, I'm going to teach you how it's connected to our programming in our brain. Our body language is connected to our communication that we communicate to ourselves, and also to the communication of how we are communicating with other people. In other words, we have self-talk. Is that true? Anybody here not have any self-talk? Okay, so you're humans. That's good to know. So we have self-talk, but we also have others talk. We have self-talk, we have others talk, and the other thing we have is we have what I call what I think others think about me talk. Here, I'll even write that down for you. It is what I think others think about me talk. Wyatam talk. So we have our self-talk, how we talk to ourselves. We have how we talk about others and to others, both. And also what I think others think about me. Not what others think about me, what I think others think about me. They're not the same. They are not the same. Very rarely do they line up. But the one that affects us the most is what I think others are thinking about me. So these pieces of communication, all of them are affected by our body language. So today, while you're here, I am going to teach you about each of these areas of communication. And if you put into practice the pieces that I teach you, you can and will change your results. Because usually I work with people individually, personal mentoring. I also do what's called group mentoring, where I have 75 people who meet in this room on Mondays. And what happens is I help them see how to get to their goals. Because one of the cool superpowers about body language is where I read body language, when I ask you a question, I will listen to your answer and watch your answer. And when they don't match, guess which one I pay more attention to? Good guess. Absolutely, the body language. And so I can quickly show somebody what's between them and that goal that they're trying to achieve and show them how to go past it. I cannot do it for them, but I can show them. And that is a really cool thing to do. But when we're working on these goals, we have to know something to change. Because Einstein said it really well. He said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, but expecting a different result. But yet we do that all the time. We set a goal and then we do the same thing. And we're like, why didn't I achieve that goal? Well, you got to change your behavior to arrive at the new result. The behavior leads to the result. So body language is a behavior. Communication is a behavior. So we've got to be able to change something. So today we're going to learn how to change how we talk, not only to ourselves, how we talk to others, and how we perceive what other people think about us. All three of those. Are you guys okay with that? Are we in the right room for that today? Excellent. So if you look at your handout here, this is kind of a cool thing. On the inside of this handout, there's another handout. Ooh, make this sound with me. Ooh. All right, half of you. Come on, we got to play a little bit. Ready? Ooh. So you pull those apart, and then you now have one that's called the Body Language Show, and one that is called 3 Key Elements Online Academy. 3 Key Elements is an education company. Have any of you ever attended a class with 3 Key Elements before this one today? A few of you. Awesome. This is a list of many of the classes and online and audio offerings that we have in the company. That's for your reference. You can put that one down and look at it later. But this one right here is the one I want to explain to you really quick. So on the front here, we have those 3 voices of communication. You're welcome to take notes just on the part that I've already taught you this morning. On the back, here's a little bit about me. That's me. We kind of match. Today I have curly hair, but there I have straight hair. But this part is awesome on the inside. Ready? Let's see if yours makes the same sound effects as mine. Oh, yours were a little different. That's awesome. You can even fold it backwards and crease it down the side, because I want you to be able to see all the powerful information that's inside of here. So right here in part 1, this is a list of many of the areas or categories of your body language, because the different parts of our body actually send different pieces of communication. For example, our feet aren't going to send the same message as our shoulders. And our head isn't going to have the same messages as our hands. And so there's different categories. So we'll refer to this today many times. But I wrote it down here for you so you didn't have to scribble all the notes. Some of them would be taken for you. Isn't that nice? You have a teacher that will take the notes for you. That's kind of cool. You're welcome. And then down here, part 2 and part 3, this is a fill in the blank. And the other cool thing is, I will give you all the answers. And if you miss one, I encourage you to cheat off your neighbor. Does that sound good? See, this is fun summer school, right? And then right here where this stick figure is, this is a cool part. Because here is where I'm going to show you the connection between your subconscious and your body language. I'm going to teach you a little bit about the science of why you can send a different message with your body language and your words. Because that was one thing that puzzled me. I was like, if I want a certain result, why would I send a different message with my body language than my words? For example, I have people that come into my office for their first appointment. All the time I see this kind of body language. Because I ask them, when they come in, I'm like, well, what do you want? And they're like, oh, you know what? I just want the relationships in my life to be better. I want more relationships. And I'm like, wow, that does not match. And so when body language and words don't match, now I ask more questions. Because now I can help you find what is the program up here that's being sent out in the body language that doesn't match the program that's coming out of the mouth. And when we can find that, that is powerful. What's the word? Powerful. Is anybody okay with powerful communication upgrades? Yes. I just invented that. Powerful communication upgrades. That's what body language is. Even say it with me. Ready? Powerful communication upgrades. That's what we're here for this morning. Powerful communication upgrades. So I'm going to show you those pieces. And in here, as I show you this, you're going to understand better why you've run into those situations where you just keep repeating them over and over. And you're like, seriously? I do not want this result in my life anymore. Anybody have one of those? I will admit to it. Yeah, so if we want it to change, we got to have somewhere to change. And that is the real cool news about body language. So we upgrade our body language, we will upgrade our results. Body language leads to results. Are you in? Yes. You want to learn that today? Yes. Awesome. So would it be okay if I told you really quick, those of you who haven't been to a class before, how I became a body language expert? Anybody curious? Oh, good. Because it's kind of fun. See, I've been working with 3 key elements for almost 8 years. And in 8 years, I've given over 3,475 presentations. So I've learned just a little bit about body language along the way. And I love what I do. I feel like I have the coolest job on the planet because I get to travel around and do body language trainings like this. In fact, if you have a group of people that you know need some body language training, I am portable and I can show up at your location and teach them. It's really cool how that works. And then I also told you I get to do personal and group mentoring. And so I love getting to help people change their results. But before I had this coolest job on the planet, I used to work in flight simulation. I built multi-million-dollar flight simulators. And before that, my first job out of college, I worked in explosives. So explosives, flight simulation, body language expert, career path. But the reason I ended up on that career path was because I went to a place called high school. Anybody been to a place called high school? Crazy place, high school. I didn't like it very much because I realized I didn't get along with the kids that well, didn't really like the teachers very much, was not something I was looking forward to. So I came up with a plan. And the plan was go to the nearest college and see if they would take me instead. Cool thing is, turns out they would. So at 16, I went to the nearest college and I said, I just want to come to college. And they said, all right, we'll take you. And I said, oh, yes! But they said, but you left a blank here on your application where it says major. And I'm like, major? I didn't even know you were going to let me come to college. Major. Okay, let me think on my feet here. Why am I coming to college? College. Oh, boys. That's why I'm going to college, to date the boys. Isn't that why we go to college? Okay, that's why I was going to college. So I looked at the registration guy and I said, what majors do you have with no girls in them? And he goes, what? And I'm like, I don't need the competition. And he goes, oh, all right. So he gets his book out and he says, well, in that case, how about you be an engineer? And I said, no, thank you. I do not want to drive trains. And he's like, Ann, in our program, there are no trains and very few girls. And I said, oh, sign me up. I'll take it. And it's true, there weren't very many girls. I know because I showed up one day at the dean's office because they called me in. And they said, Ann, you know what? We have elected you Woman of the Year for the department. And I said, how hard of a contest was that? And they're like, let's just say we haven't had a Woman of the Year for a while. And I'm like, well, I'm so glad I can help you out. And so I went through school in mechanical engineering. And it's true, there were no trains. But it is funny that since then I have been hired to go teach at the Union Pacific Railroad to teach their train engineers. So I have, and it was fun because I got to see their simulators. So it married all the worlds of my life right there. So I went through school in mechanical engineering. When I graduated, I married an engineer. That was part of the plan. And then I went to work in explosives and flight simulation. But then the hardest thing happened. I had kids. You ever had kids? Oh. The problem with kids is they get old enough to go to school. And when they get old enough to go to school, now I had to go to their school, and I would get in arguments with the teachers. I would get in fights with the parents. And I'm like, you know what? The whole reason I went into engineering was to hide from people. In engineering, I could be in my cubicle, and I didn't have to talk to anybody. And now, here I am back at school, which was the thing I was trying to escape in the first place. Oh, okay. Sorry. Little soapboxy here. And so now I couldn't figure out why everybody on this planet was so mean. People were just mean and unpredictable. I didn't like them very much. In fact, I came home one day and I asked my husband, how come everybody on this planet is so mean? And he says, Ann, I don't think you want the answer to that question. And I'm like, fine, you're mean too. So this was how I was living my life just 8 years ago. You guys, it was so bad. I would just send the kids to school in the morning and I would hide in the house. Wouldn't answer the door, wouldn't answer the phone, because people would be involved in that. I didn't want to be around people because people were messing up my results. People were causing me to have my kids come home from school and say, Mom, there's an activity at school. Couldn't Dad come with us? And I'm like, aren't moms invited? And they're like, sure, just not you. I'm like, ugh. So I didn't like the results in my relationships. I didn't like the results in all of the areas that I set goals. It wasn't working very well. So I remember one day, sent the kids to school, hiding in the house, flipping through the 7 channels we had on our television, and I came across this interview that someone was doing with some celebrities. And the celebrities were all standing in a row, and they were all standing celebrity-ish. That's a word, I made it up. And they just looked all confident. They're just like standing confident. And I was like, wow, I wonder what that feels like. And I remember I stood up in my living room, and I stood like the people in the interview, and I was like, ooh, I hope nobody sees me stand like that. That's really weird. But it got me thinking. I was like, what came first? Did they stand like that so they became successful? Or did they become successful and then they stood like that? I'm like, what happened first? So I began thinking and wondering about body language and communication. So one day I heard about a body language show, just like this one. So I signed my husband up for it. I wasn't going to go. There would be people there. So I sent my husband and I said, take good notes and come back and tell me about it. So after the class, he calls me. He didn't even come home yet. He calls me and he goes, Ann, guess what? I'm signing you up for a class. And I said, don't sign me up for a class. I won't go. And he's like, all right. He hangs up and he comes home and he finds me on the couch under a blanket. And he comes in and he lifts up the blanket. He goes, Ann, guess what? I signed you up for a class. I was not pleased. It was a class called Master Your Influence. Anybody been to it? Oh, my word. I did not want to go to this class. And my husband said, go to the class. You'll learn about communication and body language and vision boards. And I'm like, I don't want to. And he says, well, you already have a ticket. You have to go. And I'm like, fine. Watch my body language as I go to the class. And I sat in the back of that class and I thought, go ahead. Try and teach me something. Because it wasn't me that needed to change. It was all the mean people on the planet that needed to change. I couldn't do anything about it. I was trying to be nice. Oh, but as I sat there in the class, I got clear on this piece. That when your words and your body language send conflicting messages, people will discount what you say to believe what they see. And I was like, oh, really? I can change how people interpret me? Because all the words coming out of my mouth were very nice. I chose them carefully. They were nice words. So I couldn't figure out why I was always in fights. So I figured it was because people are just mean. But I left that class and I went home and I decided to adjust my body language. So here was the real problem. I immediately, how fast? I immediately got a different result. Dang it. Because I didn't want it to work. I did not want it to work, because if it worked, it meant that I had power over my own results. And I did not want that responsibility. I didn't. I didn't realize I didn't, but I didn't want the responsibility over my own results. And so my stubborn kicked in. Who here is stubborn? Oh, the whole room. That is awesome. I love it. The 3 that didn't raise their hand, those are the real stubborn ones. So here we are. I'm in this stubborn place, and I'm like, if body language matters this much, if changing the messages I'm sending in my body language will get me a result, why did nobody teach me about that in school? So I was mad. I was upset because I had tried all different kinds of classes. I don't say this very often, but I'd even tried psychology classes in college, and nowhere. I took communication, I took psychology. I was interested in all kinds of classes. So I took all different areas of classes, and nowhere did anybody teach me this. So that's when I decided to change my career and go from doing cool things like blowing things up and flight simulation to really scary things like presenting in front of people several times a week, sometimes several times a day. Tomorrow, I'm going to go present to a group of people. There'll be 300 people there. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay, because what I want is to give as many people on this planet as possible the shortcuts that I got. The shortcuts that changed my results from where I got in fights with people all the time to where now in my life, I know how to choose my result and get my result. I know how to run me. It's like when we understand body language, we finally get our owner's manual. Because I checked, I have 5 kids, and none of them came with an owner's manual. I wanted them to, but they didn't. So knowing our body language is like getting to have a peek into our own owner's manual. Have any of you watched my TED Talk that's on YouTube? Have any of you watched that? I talk in there about that communication connection between our body language and our subconscious programming. And that is understanding ourselves. Often people think body language is just about reading what other people are saying. There's power in that. But reading what other people are saying will never be as effective as understanding yourself. When you know you and what messages you're sending, it will make more sense what other people's messages are that they're sending to you. So you have to start with you. And that's the big difference between us and the other body language places you can look up in the world, is we start with you. You got to know what messages you're sending. Because here's the problem. You send messages to people all day long. All day long. And you don't know what 99.6% of them are. You have no idea. I've had so many people come up on stage, and I'll watch their body language, and I'll say, well, you got to stop doing, and I'll fill in the blank. And they're like, I didn't do that. And I'm like, I have all these witnesses. And they're like, yes, you did that. We don't even know that we're doing it. So I'm going to teach you today why we don't know and why your subconscious doesn't keep you in the loop of the messages you're sending. And then you'll be able to change your results. Cool? Yes. All right. So we have to have, it's a body language show, which means we've got to show body language. Every month I do this body language class, and every month I have a different focus on the body language. Because we could just teach a class for a week. I could teach you every day, all day for a week, and we would just scratch the surface of what's going on. This is why my group mentoring goes for 3 months, is because I want to be able to help you build into understanding you. Now, in order to do that, we're going to have people come up here to the front. So most of you quit breathing on that part. So he'll volunteer. The rest of you breathe. But the thing is, in order to make it a place to come up here, then we have to have rules. So every 3 key elements class, we have 3 rules. How many rules? 3 rules. And the first rule is, who knows what it is? Respect. High levels of respect. So please tell the person next to you, I will respect you until 11:30. After that, you are out of my jurisdiction. But till 11:30, high levels of respect. Rule number 2 is to be present. That means to be present means to ask questions when it's time for questions. It means to, when I ask a question and you don't know the answer, guess. Because part of your programming is, oh, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to stay really quiet, because I remember that one kid in 2nd grade that guessed the answer and everybody laughed at him. And so we have programming to keep us in our status quo. Do you know what that means? Status quo is current results. Our subconscious will actually try to keep us in current results. So being present means be willing to guess. You will not get marked wrong in here for guessing. In fact, it's a very powerful way to open the door to be willing to receive the answer is to guess. So be present. And then rule number 3 is, who knows this one? Manage your communication devices. That means make sure your cell phone's on silent. It also means be willing to manage this communication device if you're here with somebody. No elbowing them and going, oh, see, that's you. See? So this is a communication device. So manage that one. Be willing to ask questions when it's time for questions. So 3 rules. Rule number 1 is high levels of. Rule number 2 is be. And rule number 3 is. Everyone who follow these rules, please raise your hand. Okay, wait, so I can make sure we have agreement. All right. You online as well, we want to agree to this. Okay, last piece you need to know is, if I go on a tangent, it is bonus material. And bonus material is based on participation of the audience. I can teach this class at a very basic level, or we can go to depth, but it will depend on you. So your participation, your questions, the way you respond determines how deep I take the material that I have to share with you today. Because trust me, I've worked personally with thousands of people, helping them with their body language. And they are always amazed at the results they can get when they change themselves. And so I can work at whatever level you want, but it depends on your level of participation. So I'm here at 100%. The question is, what level are you here at? 100%. That sounded like 17%. So let's just check. I'm here at 100%. You're here at? 100%. So let's just play a game then. Everybody raise your hand as high as you can raise it. In fact, raise your left hand as high as you can raise it. As high as you can raise it. As high as you can raise it. Okay, got it? All right, now raise it just a little higher. Now wait a second. I told you to raise it as high as you could before, and there was still more you could do. So this is what I want you to know. Your subconscious is ripping you off. Your subconscious wants you to think you can't do as much as you can do. Because then your subconscious can keep you what it perceives as comfortable, familiar, and alive. That's what your subconscious wants. It wants to keep you comfortable and in familiar territory and alive. Now, alive, that's a good one. I want it to keep you alive. But the misperception is that in order to keep you alive, your subconscious has to back off what you can actually do. So I just want you to know that up front. You are capable of more than your subconscious lets on that you can do. And it's proven that easily, that easily. So you need to know this. Growth begins at the edge of your comfort zone. Until you leave your comfort zone, you are not in growing mode. You're not. So that means that we are going to all be scared the whole time, right? Some of you are like, yes. No, getting out of your comfort zone doesn't have to be scary. It's based on how we label it. The problem is the physiological reaction to excitement and fear are the same. Your heart races, your palms sweat, your tummy turns. They're the same. But how do you label it? Excitement or fear? So we're here, we're going to have to get a little out of our comfort zone. Now, just a little. You don't have to get all the way out of your comfort zone in order to grow. It only requires a little. So when I say I'm here at 100%, your 100% may not be the same as the person sitting next to you. But you are only here for your 100%. And 100% just means you go a little bit outside your comfort zone. A little bit. You don't have to go all the way out. Just a little bit. So you need to know, though, that as long as you stay in the comfort zone, you will stay in your status quo results. So now, let's play again. Everybody, fold your arms. Now here's the quiz. Look down and see which arm is on top. The correct answer is either the left or the right. Did you get it? You got it? Okay, unfold your arms. Fold them back with the other arm on top. How does that work? Okay, how does that feel? Different, uncomfortable, awkward. Hold that feeling for a minute. Because what you are experiencing there, in science we call it cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance states that your brain cannot hold on to two conflicting ideas at the same time without discomfort. So what you're doing there, if you notice, it feels weird. Your subconscious wants you to fight things that feel uncomfortable or different or awkward. So I need you to know what this feels like, because in order to change your body language, it will feel like this at first. There is a reason why you've had your body language, and your subconscious is going to try to hold you to your old result. So I want you to know what this feels like so you can embrace it. Because when you're feeling awkward changing your body language, it's an indicator that you are doing something different. And in order to have a different result, you got to do something different. Okay, unfold your arms. I don't want anybody folding their arms the whole class, but I wanted you to get to feel that. Feel that. So let me give you another example of this. Let's do this. All right, here is a word. Okay, see the word? What's the word? How does that make you feel? Weird, because it's written in red. Our brain is getting two different messages in this moment. If you look it up online, there is something called the Stroop test. Have you heard of a Stroop test? And a Stroop test actually goes through sending your brain mixed messages. And it is measuring the speed at which you can process mixed messages. Now, I'm already going a little deep. I tend to do that just because I want to give you guys everything that's inside of me. So I'm going to watch your response as I go deep. And if it's too much, no problem. I will back off. But I'm jumping into psychology a little bit right here. This right here, a Stroop test, measures the speed at which you can process mixed messages. And so what they'll do is they'll go through a whole bunch of words like this. color words that are, this is one of the tests they do, that are written in a different color ink than the word that is there. And then they ask you to read either the word or to say the color, to do one or the other. And then they flash through them quickly to measure the speed at which you can do that. Because here I have given you a mixed message. Now, in order to do this, well, let's ask you guys. In order to be able to, let's say in this Stroop test, I'm asking you to say the word that you see. To say the word. And what's the word? Green. In order to do that, if I flash through these very quickly, what would you have to do to be able to read the word and not get messed up by the color? And how do you not see the color? Concentrate on the letters and ignore the color as much as possible. Are we in agreement? Is that what we would do? And so here we would have that word, and then underneath it we would write another word. And I would ask you to flash through these and tell and read the words. And so then up here we would put this word. And so now let's read the words. Ready?
Blue, green, red. Green, red, red.
How'd we get all those different words coming out there? Okay, come on, we only went through it twice. Ready? Read the word.
Blue, green, red. Blue, green, red. Blue, green, red.
Now say the colors.
Green, red, blue. Green, red, blue.
So in order to do that, what did you do? You flipped what you focused on. You changed what your focus was. This is the same thing that's going on in body language all day long. Because if I stand up here and I do this, I go, you know what? Today's the best day ever. On a scale of 1 to 10, today's an 11. Does that match? Okay, so what does that do to your brain? It gets a mixed message. So then what do you have to do? You have to choose which one to go with. So which one do you believe? Best day ever or not so much? Not so much. You're believing the body language. This is what you do all day long. Your subconscious pays attention to body language, but it doesn't realize, it doesn't clue you in that that's what it's paying attention to. So what usually ends up happening is people will say something like, it just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. For example, one time I was working with somebody and they said there was an insurance agent and they had a couple come into their office. And they said they came into their office and then they left and he heard them talking out in the hall. And it's like he heard them talking and the wife says to the husband, I know the numbers are better, but it just doesn't feel right. And so this gentleman I was talking to, he was like, so how did I send that message? Well, the message is what comes out in the body language. It sends the mixed message. And if we don't know what the two messages are, we pick one of them based on our past experiences, based on our filters. So this is an important piece to understand. We will ignore one or we will ignore the other. We will choose the body language or the words, and we will ignore the other one. So today I have to open you up to the idea that there's more than one message that you're receiving at the same time. Because as soon as you consciously know that there's more than one, now we can look at them. Does that make sense? Audibly, please. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Oh, we are in the same room. Yes. Okay. Can you tell I do like to play? Because I know that your brain will actually hold on to more information if we're a little playful. If you're playful, your brain actually sees the information as more important and more interesting. Isn't that funny? It's really fascinating how your brain works. Okay, so here, this is called a Stroop test. I'll put that on here so you can remember what that's called. Don't worry, we won't be doing all Stroop tests today, but I do want you to know that that's what's going on. And the other piece I taught you was cognitive dissonance. Your brain cannot hold on to two conflicting ideas without discomfort. So that's why you notice when I gave this example, oh, best day ever. Did that feel weird to anybody to have me talk one way and look another? It caused giggles because often when things don't match, we have to respond some way. We'll either get frustrated or fearful, or we'll start to giggle. We'll find it humorous. We have to respond some way to that dissonance that's coming to us. Are you following me?
Yes.
All right. So let's get some of this information down on our paper so I can start pulling people up here and go even a little bit deeper. So I'm going to give you the answers to the fill in the blank really quick. And what I'll do is I'll read two of the answers, you write them down, and when you've got it, you say, got it. Got it? So first, does anybody need a pen? Does everybody have a pen? Are we good? Do you need one? She's your scribe? Okay, could one of you volunteers? She's got some. Raise your hand if you need a pen. Right there. We've got pens for you. Anybody else? Good? All right, thank you, Carla. All right, so I'm going to start with part 2, powerful communication. Reading body language is a skill to find answers and solutions. Answers and solutions. To begin reading body language, I must remove judgment and see movements as indicators. When I see movement, the next step is to ask good questions. Ask good questions. Because the problem is, what if I send two different messages, just like in this Stroop test, and I have to choose between them? Or let's say somebody sends two different messages to me. Should I immediately tune one of them out and make a judgment about the person? Why not? And why do we want to remove judgment? So, okay, that's an important piece. So what she said was, we have to remove the judgment so that we can see the communication more clearly. In other words, if I make a judgment about somebody, I have actually, okay, here's a deep piece, so listen. I have actually given myself permission to stay in my current results. Okay, let me say that one more time. If I allow myself to judge the situation and come to an immediate conclusion, I have given myself permission to stay in my status quo results. Whatever my current results are, I have permission to stay in them. So if I remove judgment, I now have to do something different. And one of the best things that we can do different is to ask questions. But what kind of question? A good question. So if I see somebody standing like this, what could that mean? It could mean I'm cold. What else could it mean? I'm hiding something. What else? Nervous. What? Not interested in talking. Fear. What was that? Shielding. It could be any one of those. So how am I going to know which one it is? Ask a question. So would this be a good question? Why are you so closed? That's not a good question. That is what we call an ungood question. I made that word up too. It's an ungood question because ungood questions break rapport and push people away. And if I break rapport and push people away, I stay in my status quo results. Because the truth of this planet is, if we pick a goal that we want to go for, often it requires we interact with people to accomplish our goal. Not control people, but interact with people. So if I can't interact with people in a new way, then I am destined to stay in my old results. So I got to ask a good question. So a gooder question. I'm so glad we're not in English class. A gooder question. I can only tease about that because my dad, growing up, is a college English professor. So a better question would be something like, is it cold in here to you? Yeah, it's freezing. Oh, well, now you know what it was. And you didn't judge the situation. We can ask good questions. Because here's what's going on inside your brain. Inside your brain, you have a conscious and a subconscious. Did you bring both of them with you? Yes. Smart people. Well, on average, your conscious mind can process up to 40 pieces of information in a single second. That's a lot. Your brain is like, it's so powerful. It's so cool. Just like your computer. Your computer is really powerful. But it processes more than 40 pieces of information in a second. Do you know that? Your computer can run through millions of pieces of information in a second. Well, you know what? Your subconscious can too. In that same second, your subconscious can process approximately 40 million pieces of information. 40 million. But in order to do that, your subconscious has to decide what are the important pieces of information that are coming through. What are the important parts? Just like your computer has all the information of the World Wide Web coming through it. It has to choose what pieces are important. And the way it chooses is based on the programs on the computer that you are running. Whatever program you have up is what determines what's important in the information that's coming through. Your brain is the same way. Whatever program you are running determines what your brain deems important that comes through. So for example, we have driving programs. Anybody drive here today? I drove here today. We have driving programs. Thank goodness we have driving programs. So the driving program comes up. I sit in the car. Now my brain says, it is important what all these other vehicles are doing on the road. It is less important what's going on in the buildings on the sides of the road. It's more important what's going on in the cars on the road. Did you run that program? You all made it here, it looks like. So you ran the right program. Now, that program, we started installing that back when we were younger. Different ages. Like I notice my niece, she knows where she is all the time. I drove her some places this week while I was up at my mom's, and she always knew where she was. And she's just little. She knows where she is. I have my son, who is one of my sons. I have 4 boys and 1 girl. He never knew where he was until he started driving. He was like, oh, maybe I should pay attention to this stuff. For me, I was 11 years old. My mom pulls over to the side of the road, and she goes, Ann, can you reach the pedals? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, good. Drive to Rigby while I read my book. That was my driving lesson. I was so afraid of that steering wheel. I didn't know if it would just suddenly go into the other lane in front of the other cars. So I started my programming on how to drive back then. Well, as adults, turns out the majority of the programs that we are using to manage those 40 million pieces of information, were placed in our subconscious between the ages of birth and 11 years old. There's other programs, like the learning to drive, there's other programs, but the problem is, even learning to drive, adding new programs when you're older, are filtered through our original programming. We all have this original programming that is making decisions for us as adults. Isn't that awesome? Yay! I'm so glad I have that program from when I was 6 years old that's making decisions in my finances as an adult. Aren't you glad? It's so good. Oh, but what about that one program from when you were 8 years old and you were watching your parents fight and you're using that in your marriage as an adult? Isn't that nice? Wait a minute. You know what happens to computers when the programs are faulty? We get upgrades. We get updates to our programming. My computer, just last night, it says, hey, are you ready to install these updates? And I was like, yes, updates are good. But how often have you updated your programming from when you were a kid? You're like, never? Because we don't think to do it. We don't know where the upgrade button is. Our phone, it's easy. It comes up and it says, you must do this now. And you're like, okay, I will update. But us, do we walk in the bathroom in the morning and we look in the mirror and we notice the blinky light on our forehead that says, hey, you should upgrade your programming? But we notice it in our results. That's where the flashy light comes in, is when we keep repeating the same results over and over. It should be that flashy light for us that says, hey, you might want to change your subconscious programming. But now we got to know how to do it. Now this is where the superpower of body language comes in. Because, find my blue marker. I've got markers all over the place now. I'm going to draw a whole new picture for this. And these are the answers to part 3 on your handout. Because here's what's going on. Your subconscious, remember, it wants to keep you alive and comfortable, which means, now, I can be tempted to say which unfortunately means, but this is the good news and the bad news. Your subconscious will defend the programs from your programming. It will defend them as if they are true, whether they are or not. Your subconscious will defend them because, unfortunately, your subconscious is not programmed for your results. It's programmed for your longevity. If your subconscious can keep you alive and comfortable, it's more interested in that than your goals that you have set. Anybody here have a vision board? Excellent. Guess what? I'm guessing on your vision board, you have things that you have not accomplished before, that they are new results. Your subconscious is interested in old results, not new ones, unless you teach it differently. Unless you teach it differently. So your subconscious, because it wants to defend those programs, one thing that it's going to do is it is going to send messages to people around you to teach them what your program is so that they will treat you according to your program. And now your subconscious has evidence to the validity of your program. Now, I just went totally into mentoring. I got to know that somebody heard what I just said. Okay, somebody, do we have a microphone back there? All right, who can repeat back what they just heard for me? Now all of you are like, a microphone's involved? I can no longer say it. Can you do it? Okay, right here. So tell us your first name.
Andrea.
Hi, Andrea.
So your subconscious will defend what it believes is true, so that way your whole body still maintains the current situation you're in.
Now, it believes, so I use the word valid. You used the word true. That's an important distinction because your subconscious believes it does not make it actually true. Because one of the programs for me that I got was, well, you heard my story. It was people are mean. People are mean. That was my program. Have you ever met a nice person? Maybe two. There might be two of them on the planet. There are nice people. So the truth is that program isn't true. But it's important. I'm glad you said it that way.
But your subconscious will think it's true and defend it.
It is your subconscious will want you to think it's true so it can defend it. Your subconscious doesn't care if it's true. It doesn't. But look at how we think. Our subconscious, like you just, is it okay if I use your words? Like you said, she's like, get the microphone away, keep the microphone. So it's like you just said, your subconscious will think it's true. We want to believe that our subconscious is acting in our best interest. And if it knows it's true, we'll do it. Your subconscious doesn't care. As long as it keeps you alive and comfortable, it does not have a truth lie part. Not the subconscious, that's in a different part of your brain. So we will actually, if we use your words, we will live lies because our subconscious will feel safer. That's a scary way to put it, huh? We will live lies because our subconscious will feel safer. We are willing in our lives to play out things that aren't true because it feels safer. And so for me, I would drive up to the school, I would get out of the car and I would go, oh, people are mean. And so I would go into defensive body language. Defensive body language, we go into protection. So we'll fold our arms, we'll put our arms in our pockets, we'll close our hands in some way in front of us because we feel like we're putting a barrier. Have you ever felt like that, Andrea?
A few times, yes.
A few times? And so for me, I would put the barriers up and then I would walk into the school. And people are like, they're getting the message that I'm defensive. Well, their program now says if someone's defensive, it's because they think I'm being offensive. So now I'm sending the message, you are offensive. And they're like, no, I'm not. So now they go into defense. And defense on defense equals friction. Equals friction. Okay, so explain it to us one more time. What is your subconscious doing?
Subconscious is validating what it believes against what needs to happen.
Don't worry, you're not being judged here. You're doing awesome, Andrea. Okay, good job. Do it one more time.
The subconscious is validating
Validating what?
whatever will keep us safe and comfortable.
So it's validating the programs.
That has been programmed to between birth and 11 years old.
Yeah, because the programs haven't killed you yet, and they're familiar. So the subconscious wants evidence. So how does it get evidence?
You have to give it evidence.
So what does it do? It sends out messages and gathers the information back. Okay, anybody grateful that Andrea would explain that to us? All right, would you give her a round of applause? Thank you, Andrea. So, do you want to explain it too? You have a question? Okay, I'm about to explain more of it, so let's see if it answers it. If it doesn't, then you ask your question. Okay? So this part, let me show you how your brain will get the information it wants. What it'll do, one of the things it does, is your subconscious picks the words that you could speak before you speak them. So on average, your subconscious will choose 650 words every minute for you to speak. Who can speak 650 words a minute? None of us. We can't. Some of us speak more than others, but we can't speak 650 words a minute. In fact, on average, these 650 words have to be filtered down to 150 words. On average, we speak 150 words a minute. On average. I have a brother-in-law, I swear he's 300 words a minute. I mean, he talks so fast. But on average, it's 150 words a minute. So how many words got held back? 500. 500 words on average get held back. But your subconscious chose those words based on your programs. So your subconscious still wants that message to get sent out so that people can pick up on that message and treat you according to it. So what does your subconscious do with those other 500 words? Body language. I like that. Jazz hands. It goes out in our body language. So our subconscious is sending the rest of the story out in our body language. Yay! No! Which is it? Both. It's absolutely both. Because your subconscious has kept you alive this long by managing the messages that are going out. The reason it's the good news is because we can override the body language. We can override the body language, just like we override the words. Have you ever thought one thing and said a different one? Yeah, we do it all the time, based on whether it's politically correct, whether it's nice. We even sometimes will say nice words with just a slight twist so that they like poke somebody. But we can go, oh, I didn't say that. None of you would do that, right? Yeah, we do that. Especially girls are really good at it. They just like twist it slightly so it can slide in there and just pokes right under the ribs somewhere. And it's like a jabbing. Okay, my karate training's coming out here. But we'll do that, but we want to be able to defend what we said, so we use the nice words with maybe a little twist to the tone. Oh, I didn't say that. I'm innocent. You ever experienced that? Okay, I'm in the right room. I thought we were all on the human scale here. Well, our body language, we can override it. Just like our breathing, our subconscious manages our breathing until we take it over consciously. That's how we learn to swim. It's, we take our 3-year-old to the swimming lessons, and we were just at swimming lessons this week, and it's like, all right, hold your breath, put your head under the water. We can manage our breath. We can do the same thing with our body language. For example, when I first learned about body language, I noticed that when my kids would come home from school, I would meet them at the door and I would say, I'm so glad you're home. Tell me about your day. I would say that with my words, but my body language would say this. And I was like, when I realized this, I'm like, why am I doing this? So it looked like this. Kids, I'm so glad you're home. Tell me about your day while I cook dinner over here. And I'm like, wait a second. Those don't match. They don't match. So which one are the kids going to pay more attention to? So do you think they ever wanted to tell me about their day? No, they did not. And I was frustrated. I would tell my husband, how come the kids won't talk to me? There's why. But I didn't know. So now I wanted to interrupt that body language and send a new message. And so I'm like, okay, if this is, look at part 1 of your handout. In the lower left-hand corner, do you see where it says 4 foundational moves? Say, got it. So the first one right there, what does it say? So what was I doing to my kids? I was pushing them away. So should I be surprised when they go away? No, but was I? Yes. Because consciously, I had my intention. Subconsciously, I had a different program. Any of you that follow me on Facebook, all last year, every week I did a different training on Facebook. And one of the things I talked about was what was going on in this piece right here, is that we all, have you ever heard somebody say they have a lot on their plate? Anybody here have a lot on your plate? Okay, what's on your plate? Stress. What else? 6 kids. Family. What? Life. College. All these things are on your plate. Now, I don't see anybody in here with a plate. None of you brought a plate. So I know that this is a subconscious thing. And so if you pull your plate out and look at it for me for a second. Now, tell me what's on there. Errands. Responsibilities. What was that? Phone calls. Decisions. So notice as you're looking at your plate, you're telling me all the things you have to do. That's what you see on your plate. But a couple of you have mentioned emotions that are on your plate. The stress, the anxiety, the frustration, the worry about the to-dos on your list. So here's the $20 question. Which one takes up more room on your plate? The emotions. The emotions take up more room on your plate. But yet, to lessen our load on our plate, what do? We check off the to-dos. We don't manage the emotions. So what was going on in this moment is my kids came home from school. I'm checking off my to-dos, but I hadn't managed the emotions. So they had completely filled the plate. My subconscious, to protect me, was saying, there's no room on mom's plate. Let's not add to the plate. And so I was pushing away to tell the kids, don't add to my plate. Is that what I wanted? Is it what my subconscious thought would be in my best interest? Yes. My subconscious is not trying to hurt me. It just is picking what will not kill me and what is familiar. It is familiar to push people away when we feel emotionally buried. It's familiar. Not for most people, it's familiar. So here I was, kids come in the house, push them away, make dinner, cycle continues. So I needed to interrupt the cycle so that I could choose a new result. So number 2 on the 4 foundational moves, what is it? What you pull comes towards you. So I said, all right, if what you push goes away, I don't want my kids to go away. I actually like my kids. I want to talk to them. So I'm going to pick option 2. What you pull comes towards you. That's what I'll do when the kids walk in the house. I'll do this. Will that make sense? No. So what would make sense? What? Here, try it with me. What you pull comes towards you. But we got to be careful. There's moderation in all things. If I go to the tug-of-war, now this sends the message, this is a tug-of-war for you to talk to me. I want to send the gentle message of it's safe to come talk to me. Because now we're going to go deeper. Everybody has their own filter that they see life through. We don't see life as it is. We see life as we are. We don't see life as it is. We see life as we are. We're interpreting everything. So I had this conversation with my hand, and I was like, all right, we're not going to do this. We're going to do this. And I'm not going to do this. Wait, you're all taking notes. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this. Because that's a very different message than, come on, do it now, which we'll tend to do with kids. So I was like, I'm going to do this. It's an invitation, but not a requirement. So here they come home the next day from school, and I'm like, oh boy, here's my chance. So they come in the house, and I'm like, kids, tell me. No, that's wrong. Shoot. Tell me about your day while I cook dinner. And the kids are like, what's wrong with Mom? Run away. So they didn't come talk to me the first day because it was awkward. Remember the cognitive dissonance? I had plenty. And I was like, oh, shoot. I'm going to try again tomorrow. Kids come home the next day. All right, remember hand. This way, this way, this way. Hi, kids. Tell me about your day while I cook dinner over here. Okay, I didn't push. I just did this. Did the kids come talk to me yet? No, they're still going, what is wrong with Mom? Warning lights in the subconscious are saying, stay away from Mom right now. We don't know what's gotten into her. So no, they didn't talk to me yet. Third day. Third day, kids come home. Kids, tell me about your day while I cook dinner over here. And I'm like, oh, that was better. And the kids still didn't come talk to me, but I did much better. And so I'm like, I can do this. Now, notice what's going on here. As I'm doing it, it is feeling calmer for me. I'm calming me down. I'm helping my subconscious see that a new behavior can still be familiar or safe. And so I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. So fourth day, kids come home from school. Kids, hey kids, tell me about your day. I want to hear about your day while I cook dinner. And the kids still left. And I was like, dang it, I want this to work. But now as I'm cooking dinner, two of my kids came and sat at the counter and started talking to me about their day. And inside I'm like, yes, happy dance, happy dance, happy dance. Because I changed my message. I overwrote my programming by changing my body language. Let me say that again. I overwrote my programming by changing my body language. So when I did this, I sent a new message back to my subconscious. And my subconscious said, beep, 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 error, error, this does not match. And I said, it's okay, subconscious. This is the new result that I want. And the subconscious said, yes, ma'am, we will upgrade, ma'am. And I got a new result. So when we change our body language, we change our result. So say that with me. Change your body language, change your result. Upgrade your body language, upgrade your... Oh, that is such a superpower, you guys. We can change our result. Okay, so let me read the answers. In fact, what we'll do is I'm going to read the words. You tell me the answers to part number 3 now. So the ability to understand and use nonverbal communication is a powerful, in fact, circle the word powerful, is a powerful tool that will help you to connect, underline connect with others, express, underline express what you really mean, and underline navigate challenging situations, and build better relationships. So circle that whole thing, build better relationships. So the ability to understand and use nonverbal communication is a powerful tool that will help you to connect with others, express what you really mean, navigate challenging situations, and build better relationships. While you are speaking, the brain prepares and organizes 650 words per minute to say. At the last moment, our consciousness filters this down to 150 words. As a person speaks, there are an average of 500 words that are held back. These hidden words show up in body language. Okay, so did your question get answered, or do you still have one?
I just wanted you to fill in the blanks that I didn't get for the quote or the phrase, our subconscious, we will live lies.
Can you grab the microphone?
So you said something really cool, and I got the first part when we were talking about the subconscious deciding its own truth based on the programming. You said we will live lies, blank, blank, blank.
Our subconscious will live lies. Did anybody write it down?
We will.
So she wrote it down that way. So what's going on is, because I've never said it that way before, so our subconscious will live a lie because it thinks it's safer.
I think that was it. To keep us safe.
Yeah, to keep us safe.
To feel safe.
Yeah, that's actually what's going on, because our subconscious is actually not interested in the truth or lie of it. It's interested in the safety and familiarity of it. So our subconscious will let us live a lie because in the name of feeling safe. So my lie was that all people are mean. And I was living that lie. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so that's a powerful thing for us to recognize. So I'm glad you brought it up. Our subconscious will let us live a lie because it feels safe. In the name of feeling safe.
And then you also said the subconscious keeps us alive, keeps us comfortable, and what was the third one?
It keeps it familiar.
Familiar.
Alive, comfortable, and familiar.
I'm a slow writer.
You're doing great. And you have a support system right next to you that's making sure you get it all down. Your past experiences, and you make a judgment based on what you see. And it's all happening subconsciously. So we've got to change it so that we can now do it on let me say it this way. In order to change and upgrade this, it has to pass through the conscious mind. The conscious mind is where choices happen. So we have to become conscious of something so that we can choose something different. Unless it's conscious, we can't choose a new result. We will stay with our default old results unless we pass it through the conscious mind. So that's why we got to become conscious of our body language, become conscious of it. So I need some volunteers. So now we're going to practice. When Ann says we need volunteers, I suggest you use this body language. Me, pick me. Now, we're going to practice it this way because what I'm watching is all your different programs of why you don't want to volunteer. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice what it would feel like to raise your hand and go, me, and I won't pick any of you. We're just going to practice here. So I'm going to say I need a volunteer, and you all are going to respond how? Me. Exactly. And it'll be safe because I already told you I won't pick any of you. But we're going to practice pushing past your subconscious programs. All right, ready? I need some volunteers. Me. Now, notice all the giggling. And notice that you weren't you were a little bit less enthusiastic the second time because some of you weren't sure if I might pick you. I said I wouldn't the first time, and some of you were like, she didn't clarify that second time. I'm not going to quite do it. We're still in the space of I won't pick you. It's safe. But your programs are being pushed. We think that it will be scary, but most of you giggled when you did that. Getting out of your comfort zone can be fun. What's the word? Fun. It can be fun, but we've got to practice getting there. So let's do it one more time. I need some volunteers. Good job. Now, when people come up to the front, don't worry, I'm not going to expose you. I'm not going to do it. All will be legal, moral, and ethical, okay? And safe. We've set up rules, so you don't have to worry about that. But what we just want to do is to be able to see people's body language. We want to see body language because it makes a difference in our results in our life. So I'm going to ask this. So thank you for being willing to play. Who has not been to a body language class or another, who's never been to any class in 3 key elements? You guys? So leave your hand up if you're willing to volunteer. Okay, I like that. The hands changed. All right, so let's go with you right here. What's your name?
Brenda?
You left your hand up, so I assumed that meant you were willing to volunteer.
No, I was doing what I was told.
Oh, well, it was leave your hand up if you're willing to volunteer.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Fascinating. Are you willing to come up? All right, come on up, Brenda. Give Brenda a round of applause. So you get to stand right in the middle. Here, I'll even move my thingy here a little bit. No, there's just all the ones online that are scary. So come up to the front of the stage, if you will. Thank you very much. So this is Brenda. Now, one of the things that if you read the email, because some of you got an email inviting you here, or somebody forwarded it to you. If you read the email, today we were talking about capacity. And I don't think we used that word in the email, but that was, okay, I'll teach you what we're talking about today. So okay, I'm going to have Brenda do something first, and then I'm going to tell you what we're talking about. Is that all right? Because I don't want to key her subconscious into this yet. Is that all right? Okay, so Brenda, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to ask you to answer the question to this wonderful group of people here for 60 full seconds. You got to give answers for 60 seconds. So you'll probably have your rote answers that'll get you through the first 10 seconds, and then it'll be like, really? I got to come up with more answers? So I want you to all watch her body language as she's coming up with answers. Because I'm going to ask her a question that is probably somewhat unfamiliar to her. And so her body language, your body will actually, now your temptation will be to try to be a statue, so you have no body language for these people. But I'm going to tell you, don't worry, try not to worry about your body language. Because when you're, can I touch you, is that okay? So when we move our body, it actually triggers memory inside of our body. Our entire body is a recording device. So we have memory everywhere stored inside our body. So when we're trying to find an answer, our eyes will move, our body will move, we'll get little twitches because it's trying to help us access the memory. Now, one of the things I watch for in body language is where they access the memory. Did they find it when they did their shoulder? Did they find it when they moved their eyes, and their neck? I'm just looking for the category. Now, some of you are scared of me. I'm really nice, and I'm very gentle. Have any of you been to Break Free Intensive? You're signed up? You'll love it. Okay, the volunteers have. This is never mind. You haven't been there, so it doesn't matter. It's just another class in the company where for 2 full straight days, I bring people up on stage and I help them with their body language. It is a powerful, fun class. Powerful. So Brenda, you ready for your question? Sure. And remember, you've got to answer it for 60 full seconds. So I'm going to get my stopwatch out here so that I make sure that you answer it for the full 60 seconds. Ready? So the question is, why are you, I need a microphone on a stand. Cameron, can you bring me a stand up here, please? I just realized everybody online can't hear you unless there's a microphone. So we're going to bring a microphone up. No, that has to go on the floor. Where's it needs to be that stand over there. Hang on, everybody. Aw. Okay. so glad we have an AV department that'll come fix this for us. Yes, so they're going to put that microphone up so that everybody online can hear. But Brenda, you're going to have to come back to the front of the stage. All right, there we go. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate that. There we go. Okay, so now you don't have to worry about being right in the microphone. It will pick you up. But now I'll be able to hear your answer.
Okay.
But stay at the front.
Stay at the
There you
front.
go. All right, ready, Brenda? Here's your question. Why are you so amazing? Go.
I don't think I have an answer for that.
55 seconds to go.
Why am I amazing? I got nothing.
Keep going. Time to start making stuff up then.
I've had some training that's increased my knowledge so that I know something about my job, and
What's your job?
I try at it. So, I mean, there's effort there.
Good. Keep going.
What? I don't know.
Keep going. You started answering 30 seconds ago, so you got 30 more seconds. Come on. You're doing
It's a
good.
long minute. I think that clock's broken. Why am I amazing? Well, I didn't volunteer to get up
You
here,
guys?
but I am up here. 10,
3,
9.
2,
Okay.
1. Okay, stop. All right, give her a round of applause. Okay, so I see what kind of people I have in this room. I have people that want to rescue people from uncomfortable situations.
Thank you.
I told you, God, I went through for 5 minutes practically telling you this is a safe place. I'm nice. I'm gentle. And yet you still all wanted to save her. Here, I'll give you the answers. We were wanting to watch her body language. The question was just to watch the body language. Come on, my rescuers in the room. Should we here? Okay, can I go on a tangent? Yes. Are we friends now? Yes. 6 of you. All right. Can I stand by you?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the problem. On the planet, we think that we have to save people from uncomfortable. But remember, I just told you that uncomfortable is where we grow. So why are you trying to give people permission to stay in their comfort zone? But uncomfortable. So uncomfortable is not unsafe. Uncomfortable is not unsafe. If somebody is in an unsafe place, absolutely jump in. But why do we not trust people to be able to grow? High school. So what I'm trying to help you with is to recognize that it is actually okay to love someone enough to let them be a little bit uncomfortable. Just a little bit. Brenda,
I was really uncomfortable.
Brenda will not die. She's not going to die. She'll still be alive. She's still breathing.
Mm-hmm.
She's still breathing. She didn't expose her past or anything. It's still safe. But let her grow by struggling a little bit. It's actually okay to let someone struggle a little bit. When we have a baby that's learning to walk, if they fall down when learning to walk, do we jump in and take their feet and do the steps for them? Or do we Interesting. Or do we let them fall down so that they can learn how to balance? Often until the baby has fallen down, the baby doesn't know what the balance is for. You need both in order to be able to grow. So we don't have to, yes, totally help somebody in an unsafe situation. But in a growth situation, it's okay to struggle a little bit. And the cool thing about it is, when you will let somebody struggle a little bit, you actually send the message to them that you trust that they are strong enough to grow. And people want to be considered strong enough to grow. For example, last year, two of my sons, my husband and I, all decided to get a trifecta Spartan medal last year. You know what those are? So Spartan races are basically obstacle marathons. They're crazy. And so you go, they're usually at ski resorts. All the ones, they're at ski resorts or mountainous terrain. And you run up and down this mountain while doing obstacles. So one of the obstacles at this race we were at was you had to pick a 5-gallon bucket up, fill it with gravel, and then carry it down a hill, down the ski resort, and back up the other side. Well, as we were going down there, my husband and I passed this girl who who was sitting down next to her bucket. And my husband's like, "Oh, let me rescue her." And so he went and picked up her bucket of gravel and poured half of it into his bucket and gave her bucket back. And he's like, "Here, I'll help you out." Well, she was a little put out. She's like, "No, I want to prove I can do this myself." But my husband wanted to rescue her. He wanted to save her. And it was really interesting to watch her reaction. Because what people want is to be viewed as strong and capable. Most people want to be, unless they have a program that they need to be looked at as vulnerable and weak, people want to be seen as strong and capable. And so we don't have to put our programs onto other people. Instead, what we can do, remember how I said I was going to talk about what I think others think about me? Then I'm also going to talk about how we see or talk about others, and how we see and talk about ourselves. So what I think others think about me, what I think about others, and what I think about myself. And almost all the time, what I think about others is filtered through my past experiences and what I think about myself. And then what I think they will think about me. So sometimes we go into rescue mode because we're afraid the other person will think poorly of me if I don't rescue them. Or we think that they shouldn't have to feel uncomfortable. Struggles are how we get stronger. They are. If we are rescued every time we try to learn something, on the way here, they are doing an event somewhere that direction today, where they are having all these bicycles at a park, so that underprivileged kids that have never gotten to ride a bike can come learn how to ride a bike. Did anybody else hear that on the radio? You heard that? Yeah. So they're doing an event where everybody can come learn how to ride a bike. They're not going to put them on the bike and ride it for them. They're going to put them on the bike, help hold while they get their balance, and then cheer for them as they ride the bike. We don't learn something new without a struggle, because we have to grow the neurons, we have to grow the neural pathways that make the new behavior familiar. But until it's familiar, there's a struggle to grow those. All right, now I've gone really deep. Are we doing okay here? Yeah. Are you following what's going on? Because I just noticed behavior going on here. And what we can really do to help Brenda here is to send the message that we believe in her. Because come over here. You keep running away from me. Hi, we're friends, right?
Yes.
We're friends? Can I put my arm around
Sure.
you? Okay. So Brenda here, part of the reason you guys wanted to rescue her is you see amazing in her. Is that true? Yes. That's why they want to rescue you. It's because they're like, well, she can't see her amazing and I can.
They don't know me.
Yeah, but you happen to be a human on this planet.
Okay.
And that is a
I
really
believe
good thing. It's cool. And the thing is, they're also watching how you hold yourself. They're watching, that's a new word, watching. They're seeing that you actually did your hair today, you put on clothing. Those are both very successful things that you have done today. You were brave enough to come up here. So even though they don't know you, they believe in you. So the reason they were wanting to rescue you is they're like, I'll come up with amazing things about her. But the other reason is, oh boy, here we go. The other reason they wanted to rescue you is because they have not felt like they could answer that same question.
Yeah, try that.
And so they feel empathy for you because they would be scared to answer it. Now, the question is, why do you not want to answer why you're amazing?
No, nothing comes to mind. Nothing comes to
So
mind.
you're more than 12 years old, right?
Yeah.
And you've never done anything amazing in your life.
Probably have.
Yeah, because
Nothing came to mind.
But here's the thing. If you watched her eyes looked several different places. She found answers, but they weren't ones she wanted to share.
I didn't find any answers. I'm
Oh,
looking. I'm looking.
Your brain saw them. You looked to the memories of them. So can I help you?
Sure.
Okay, so where did anybody watch your eyes? Where did she look a lot? She looked that way a lot, right? So look, not your head, just your eyes. Move your eyes to look that way. About right. Yeah, don't move your head, just your
Okay.
eyes. So about right here. Now hold your eyes there. What are you finding there about why you're so amazing? Come on, you keep looking away. Look here, look here. Hey, look here. Now notice this is what's going on, Brenda. Every time you look away, your brain sees the memory, and it doesn't want to have to answer it. So you're doing, anybody know what a chicken exit is at an amusement park? So a chicken exit is when you stand in line for a roller coaster, and you get all the way to the front, and you look at the roller coaster, and you're like, never mind, I don't want to go on that. Instead of having you walk back past everybody, they have a chicken exit where you can exit off this way instead of having to get on the roller coaster. So every time you look away from this spot, you're taking the chicken exit because you don't want to actually have to access your amazingness.
Okay.
Look over here.
You want an answer?
Yeah.
Oh. I guess my job makes me amazing.
Now breathe.
All right.
Because then the other thing is, if we don't breathe, it's like we don't take in the response. So let's teach you it this way. Have you ever given somebody a compliment and they push it away? You ever seen that? So there's several ways that people will push the compliment away. They'll push it like this, or they'll suddenly, have you ever seen them suddenly brush off their arms or their legs? That's another way of pushing away the compliment. Another one is they'll hold their breath. They'll say, thank you, and wait for the compliment to be passed, and then they'll breathe again, because then they didn't have to take the compliment in. Another thing they'll do is they'll close their eyes. They'll close their eyes. There's lots of ways that people will push a compliment away. But the thing is, people, all of you people, I asked, do you have a goal that you're trying to achieve? Every one of you, well, I don't remember how I worded it. I said, is there a result you would like to have different in your life? Everybody raised their hand. In order to be able to receive what's coming to us, we have to be able to receive little good things that are coming to us. If somebody gives you a compliment and you can't receive it, how are you going to receive something else that you're wanting in your life? We have to learn to receive things in our life. We have to learn. Because our filtered, programmed response is to push the compliment away. And why do we do it? Usually 2 reasons, one of 2. Either one, I'll be perceived as prideful if I take the compliment. Oh, I can't take the compliment or they'll think I'm prideful. And I'm not prideful, so I'm going to push the compliment away. Or number 2 is that if I take that compliment from them, somehow I am taking from them and they will have less. They will have less. What is your job?
I'm a mechanic.
You are?
Yes.
What kind?
Automotive.
Automotive. Trucks, cars, anything?
Mostly trucks, fire trucks, that kind of thing. Thank you.
So see, they already think you're even more amazing.
Thanks.
But you have learned not to look at your amazingness. How come?
I don't know.
Guess.
Childhood experiences.
But why? What would happen if you looked at your amazingness?
I'd probably like myself more.
And would that be bad?
No.
But would it go against your programming?
Yes.
Okay, so that is very typical of humans. We won't receive responses that will go against our programming. Even though, remember I asked her, would you like to like yourself more? Yes. But she'll push away the answers. You guys see what's going on here? Okay, so let's just make up 10 answers of why you're amazing. Did you see those eyes? Whoa. Oh.
Make up 10.
Tell us why you're a mechanic.
Wait. I'm interested in working with my hands.
Okay, so you're good at working with your hands.
Yes.
So say, I'm amazing because I'm good at working with my
I am
hands.
amazing at working with my hands.
I am amazing because I'm good at working with my hands.
I'm amazing because I'm good at working with my hands.
One answer. Awesome. Okay, so why did you want to work with your hands? Why did you choose to be an auto mechanic?
It interested me. I mean, I don't know.
But why? Here's why I went into engineering. No girls did it. It was really cool. Did you have a reason like that you went into auto mechanics?
It was an available career field when I entered the military.
Okay. Number 2, she went in the military.
Thanks.
Number 2, I am amazing.
I am amazing
Because
I'm in the military?
yes.
That doesn't sound right.
And why not?
It's just something you do. It doesn't make you amazing.
Okay, what we're practicing
Okay,
here
I'm sorry.
is being able to access and feel your amazingness. You have
Okay.
explanations why none of it counts. And we're just pushing past those programs. So we're
I'm
starting.
kind of closed off to it, aren't I?
A little. That's okay. And so this is, but it also explains being in the military why your default body language when you're trying to figure something out goes to here.
Okay.
But there was not
You can't
something-
put your hands in your pockets in the military.
Yeah, exactly. And
All
there's
right.
nothing wrong with it. It's just, we're just noticing. We're just learning. So when we want to be able to see our amazingness, one of the areas that we can work on is we can look at our accomplishments. Now, the reason I took you there first is because accomplishments can often feel easier than personal traits for our amazingness. So I went there first because it's safer. It feels safer.
It's more factual. It's easy to come up with facts.
Yes. So that's why we're starting there.
Okay.
Okay? So she's amazing because she works with her hands. She went in the military. Why else are you amazing?
I am a massage therapist as well. Wow. I like to work with my hands.
I noticed that. That's pretty cool. So to be an auto mechanic and a massage therapist and in the military, look at all the ooh, or hear all the oohs that are going on here. They all think you're amazing. That's pretty
Okay.
cool. Okay, what's the next one?
Are these still like made up things? Were
Are
we on
these,
the?
are these made up?
No.
You're not in the military?
that-
You're
no,
not
no,
auto
those are
mechanic? You're
real.
not in-
Those were real. I thought we were on the made up things.
So the reason I said pretend or make up is because it got past the filter in your brain that was trying to hold back all the amazingness.
Okay.
And so I said that, and then you still came up with true ones. Sorry guys. Sometimes we have to sneak past the barriers in the subconscious. And so when I asked, let's pretend or make one up, her door felt safer to crack open. And so then she told us real ones. So you don't have to make them up. They can be real.
All right.
Because what I can see in you is you have a lot of amazingness, but that you are very programmed not to look at it.
True.
So we're just cracking the door a little,
Okay.
just a little. I'm not ever going to make somebody open a door wide open they don't want to. So what's a fourth reason why you're amazing?
Now I got nothing.
Because now we're back to your subconscious catches on to what I'm doing. What are some other accomplishments you've had?
Not tied to those. Nothing. I've been on deployments and
To where?
Kuwait, Qatar, Jordan, United Arab Emirates. That's it.
How many was that?
4.
4. Okay, so there's 7.
Okay. This is easy.
Okay, 3 more. Do you have kids?
No.
How many kids in the family you grew up in?
8.
Which one are you?
3.
So you survived being 3 of 8.
Yes. That was amazing? Okay.
We tend to think that our own amazingness is just status quo and that to be amazing you have to be better than me. But it's not true. We tend to just gloss over our own amazingness. Okay, so 2 more.
All right, I own 2 dogs, so I guess I'm kind of a mother that way, you know.
Aw.
Yes.
What kind
That's
of
all
dogs?
I have. Malamutes.
What's that?
An Alaskan Malamute. They're the ones
Oh,
that pull the sleds in the sled races.
Really?
Yeah.
And are they well behaved and you
They
do
are.
awesome with them?
I guess so.
Okay, there's number 9. What's number 10?
What's amazing? It's amazing that I'm standing up here.
Absolutely. Give her a big round of applause.
Thank
No,
you.
don't leave, don't leave, don't leave.
That wasn't it. All right.
That was a round of applause because we got to 10. after you said there wasn't anything amazing about you.
Just nothing came to mind.
Well, now we have 10 things that came
Okay.
to mind. So we have all of these things that we can access if we'll allow ourselves to. So if we can learn to receive a compliment, it actually helps us access more of our amazingness. So when you raised your hand, when I asked, who here has a result that they would like to have be different in their life? Does that mean you have a goal in your life?
Yes.
Do you have one you can share with us?
Oh,
Scoot back up there. There you go.
I would like to be, I guess, in charge of my shop.
Oh, you want to own it, or do you want to just be the manager or the supervisor?
Yeah, the supervisor.
The supervisor of your shop.
Yes.
Okay, so here is a shortcut for you. One of the ways that we can get to our goal faster is to actually be willing to recognize our amazingness and our accomplishments.
Sure.
And so I would suggest to you that you go home and you make a list of 100 accomplishments that you've had in your life.
That sounds easy.
Oh, really?
No. After we just struggled
It took us
to
10
10.
minutes to get to
Yeah.
10.
No.
Make a list of 100 accomplishments. And what it's going to do is help get past the barriers in your brain that are the same barriers that will be between you and being supervisor of your shop. It's the same barriers. When it comes to our capacity, we think that we want capacity to receive more, we'll use yours, more responsibility in our life, but we don't want capacity to recognize our amazingness. Just responsibility, not amazingness. But they come together. We have to open up our receptors to receive the responsibility and the recognition of our own amazingness. If we have a goal that we want to receive more money in our life, we can't say, I want to receive more money, but I don't want better relationships, I don't want to see my amazingness, and I don't want responsibility. You can't reject most and then have one. It happens, but if you're trying to improve your results and your goals in your life, we can practice and start by letting in the little things like a compliment. To truly receive a compliment increases your capacity to receive good things in your life. I am not saying you have to receive bad. We can still, when something bad is coming, we can still use push away body language. In fact, if I'm walking down an alley and some guy is coming towards me and wants to mug me, I'm not going to go, I will receive. That's not going to happen. It's going to be like, okay, karate's coming out. I will push that away. But we think that can we stay till 6 o'clock tonight? Can you wipe your calendars? Because it's already 11. Does it feel like we've been here for 2 hours? So what happens is we think that receiving compliments, that feeling of it being unfamiliar, feels unsafe. And so we equate receiving the compliment with receiving something bad. That's what our brain mixes that up, our subconscious, because it wants to keep us in status quo results. So if you start receiving a compliment, so if somebody in here who wants to give her a compliment? Anybody? Oh, like the whole room. All right, so right here, let's start with you.
You being in the military to me, is one of the most amazing things. I have whole family members, and I know what it takes to be in the military. So.
Thank you.
So notice her response. Thank you, stopped breathing, turned away from it. So what she said was, and you're right, the microphone, but I'll repeat hers. But if you could give it to her right over here, that would be awesome, because she's next. So what she said was, I think that you being in the military is one of the most amazing things, because she has lots of people in her family in the military. And Brenda's response was, thank you, turn away. So let's try. Can we try
I didn't
new?
mean to take it that way. Thank you.
That was better. That was,
Okay.
but you still didn't breathe.
I didn't.
So try this. Try this. Can we add body language to it?
Okay.
So try this. Look at her, say thank you, and do this. Like you're scooping the compliment up and put it in your heart. So just go,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay,
And
that
breathe.
felt different.
And breathe.
Oh. All right.
Ready?
Thank you.
Take a breath.
I thought I did.
All right. Good job. All right.
Okay.
So one last time. Ready?
Thank you.
Did that feel different?
Yeah, it did.
Isn't that interesting? How
It
that
is.
can, because we're actually letting it in. All right. Your turn.
I'm impressed that you like to work with your hands and that you're a mechanic. That skill is must be take a lot of intelligence as well as fine abilities.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good. Now we're going to do it without all the wiggles of the legs. Ready? Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Now, do you like, let's ask you, did you like it better when she turned away from your compliment or when she received your compliment?
When she received it.
But we have this feeling that inside of us, if I receive the compliment, they will think less of me. But it actually will add to the person. If you have trouble receiving a compliment for yourself, receive it for the person giving it to you. Is that me? Are we good? Okay. Receive it for the person giving it to you, because it will make them feel different because you received the compliment. So 2 pieces of homework for Brenda, and you guys can do them if you want to. Go home and make a list of 100 accomplishments in your life.
Okay.
Okay? And it will stretch you. You might have to really think of your accomplishments, okay? But having that list will help you have the capacity to be the supervisor of your shop. And you want that, right?
It makes sense. Yes.
Okay, so make the accomplishments list. And number
Okay.
2, when people give you a compliment,
Receive it.
receive the compliment. Receive it. Because then your subconscious will get used to the feeling that it's okay to recognize your own amazingness. That's also important for being the supervisor of your shop, because if you can't recognize your amazingness, it will be harder to acknowledge and recognize the amazingness of the other people in the shop.
Oh, I can see it in them. They are amazing people.
Yeah, but they won't feel it from you if you can't let yourself feel yours.
True. Okay.
And so if you want to be the supervisor, then you have to be able to give that feeling to them. So when I said see, what I meant was this kind of see, the feeling kind of see.
Okay.
All right? So those 2 things will help you with your goal. Will you do them?
Yes.
Okay, anybody else learn from Brenda? They did. Okay, give her a big round of applause. Thank you. So Brenda, you were really brave to come up here. So would it be okay if I give you a present? Yes. Good answer. She was tempted to say no, and then she's like, yes. So this here, these are 2 audio recordings that I did. They are mentoring principles. This one here, don't dump your cup. This talks more about how to receive good things in our life. And this one right here, the bucket list, this talks about getting out of our comfort zone without getting out of our safety zone. And these are actual printed CD copies. We don't do this anymore. In the company, now everything's by download. So someday they'll be really valuable because they're going to be antiques. But if you still have a CD player, I would highly recommend you take this shrink wrap off and you listen to the CDs on the inside. Would you receive these? Yes. All right, give her a round of applause. You're welcome. Okay, are you learning things? Yes. And are you going to put them into practice? Yes. Ooh, those are the correct answers. Good job. So, should we have another person come up? Was that fun? Yes. 3 people only said that one. They're like, no. Let's take questions first. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, would you bring that microphone right up here, please? Then tell us your first name.
My name is Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi. I got a question from the beginning where you said at first you would hide in your house and stuff. That's what I still do. How did you get to the point where you could go out and you could meet people and be with people?
So that is a great question because, and one part of the answer is if you go, do you do YouTube? Have you ever been on YouTube?
Yeah.
If you type my name, Ann Washburn, on YouTube, you can watch my TED Talk. And I talk about that piece right there in that TED Talk. Because what I had to do was I had to recognize, first of all, that I was scared of people. I had to recognize that.
Yeah.
And then I had to recognize what I was doing in my body language because I was scared of people. And for me, it was folding my arms because that felt safer. Mm-hmm. But if anybody asked me, I would have just said, well, I don't have pockets, so I got to put my arms somewhere, so I'm just going to fold my arms. I didn't realize that it was because I didn't feel safe around people. I was scared of them. And so when I learned it, I decided I was going to teach my brain that it was safe to be more open to people. So I noticed I folded my arms. I was going to put my hands down to my side. Now, as soon as I did that, they kept going back to folded. And so I was unfolding them. And so then I started walking around like this all day long. And people are like, what's wrong with you? Nothing. I'm just upgrading. Because they kept going back to what was comfortable and familiar.
Yeah.
So that's why I would practice. And one of the ways that I practiced it, Kathy, can I tell you?
Yeah.
Is I would actually stand in front of a mirror with my hands down to my side and make eye contact with myself in the mirror. Wow. And I would see if I could do that without moving for a whole minute.
Okay.
And at first it was like, but after a while I got to where I could stand and I would just look myself in the eye. And if you want to do it all crazy, you can even smile. I mean, that's like over the top. And I would look myself in the mirror and I wouldn't move a muscle. Because what we're wanting to do is our body language will try to rescue us.
Oh.
Just like we're wanting to rescue other people, our body language will try to rescue us. And the way it's trying to rescue us is by giving us permission to stay in the old result. And I was like, no, I want the new result. So I'm going to stand for 1 minute and just look myself in the eye and stay still.
Okay.
You think you can do that?
I will definitely try to do that.
It took me a couple of weeks before I could do it. So don't
Okay.
give up on the first time. So those are two things that I did in the beginning, is I practiced not folding my arms around everybody.
Okay.
And our tendency is to go, oh, your arm's down here, that's so awkward.
It is.
But it only feels awkward. It doesn't look awkward. We think that it looks awkward, but if you look around, if you watch a movie, if somebody's not doing anything in the scene, their hands are down to their sides. And we never go, oh, that's so awkward, their hands are down to their side. But we think it feels awkward because our subconscious is trying to come up with any reason at all to stay in current behavior, to stay in and reinforce our current programming.
Okay.
And you're trying to upgrade your programming
Yes.
by standing in front of the mirror and not moving.
Okay. Did you have to do that many times a day or just once?
I just did it however many times a day you want until I could get to do it. And it took me a good 2 weeks before I could do it.
Okay.
So you don't have to spend your whole day in front of the mirror.
Okay.
You can do it. You can try it once and go, oh, I'm not there yet. But what it required that I think differently about me. If I hold on to the same kind of thinking about myself, I won't be able to hold still in front of the mirror. So you might notice when you're looking at the mirror, if negative comments come up inside of your head, chase them out and just say, no, I am worthy and deserving of upgrading.
Okay.
So you want to write that down?
Yeah.
All right, so give Kathy a round of applause so she can get the microphone back.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Go ahead. Excellent question. Any other questions? Some of you are like, I don't know what to ask, and some of you are like, I don't dare ask. Go ahead, right here. Will you grab the microphone, or that one? There's two of them. Whichever. Tell us your first name.
So I'm Devin.
Hi, Devin.
Part of our job is going door to door, and we deal a lot with negativity from people.
Weird.
So I know, right? So my question is to you is, how have you been able to take that negativity and turn it into, before leaving, I guess, how can you turn that into a positive for them?
For them or for you?
I guess both.
Because why would you want to turn it into a positive for them?
I guess for me, I want to leave it better than what I found it, I guess, in my own.
Why?
I guess because, I'm more of a people person. I mean, I'm definitely...
Can you hold the microphone just a little closer?
Sorry. I'm a people person, and I am a person that doesn't like to have anybody angry or upset at me. I'm more of a peacemaker, right? And
How many kids in your family you grew up in?
I'm the oldest of 7. So yeah, I mean, my family's really off the deep end. So I had to make some choices of my own to be who I am. So,
good job.
but yeah, so
if we unlayer what you're saying here,
mm-hmm.
you feel better about going door to door if you don't leave people upset.
Exactly.
And so you'll feel like you have permission to knock on the next door if you could leave the first one in a good place.
Yeah.
So it's coming back to a reflection of you, of what you think about you. You want permission for that next door. Because there's lots of ways that we can, because the first part of your question was how do we, actually I don't remember your words, I was just watching you.
Okay.
But basically the message was, how do I not let that negativity get in so that I'm carrying it with me everywhere?
Exactly.
And still have the courage to go knock on the next door. Well, part of it is, so we can have answers like we recognize it takes 10 doors before one lets me in.
Right.
We can have that kind of thing, because I've talked to lots of summer salespeople or door-to-door sales, and we can use that kind of thing, which is motivation. We can use competition, like if I get the most, then I get the trip,
Right.
We can use those. But for you, you're saying those kinds of motivations have not been working. And do you see why?
I'm not exactly sure. That's why I'm asking.
No, but you said it. That's why I'm just getting you to repeat it. Your reason why is you don't feel like you have permission to knock on the next door if you made somebody upset.
That makes sense, yes. That is correct.
And so you've grown up with the belief that you are in charge of other people's emotions.
Yes.
I'm the oldest too, so I totally get it.
Yeah.
And that was my programming, was I'm in charge of other people's emotions. If they're upset, I have to change. And so you're trying to not leave the door without changing so that you can reinforce that program.
Correct.
Okay, so there's two halves there, because I can totally show you how to change their reaction, but the problem is this pain. We have 16 more minutes. Can we still go deep? Is that okay?
I could be here all day.
Devin's like, I'm done. I wipe my calendar. Okay, here's the thing. The pain is there to poke at your program.
Yeah.
It's trying to show you your program. So there's two parts going on. You can help them have a better experience, but it will not change the program that's causing the pain in the first place.
Okay.
So the program that's under there is that you are in charge of other people's emotions. Is that a true program?
No.
Are you in charge of people's emotions?
No.
No. Can we think that it's valid and true?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. I totally have lived that. But take it from me, the more we can let go of that, actually, the more people around us will feel comfortable and want to grow. They'll
Okay.
actually want to grow more if we can let go of the program that I'm in charge of their emotions. It's the same thing I was talking about with picking up my husband picking up the girls' gravel, is you're trying to, sorry, that terrified me. Is that me? Okay. Are you going to fix it? Or do I just not move? All right. So what was I saying? Picking up the gravel, where the people at the door will feel that you will respond to their emotions. And so they are going to respond in a way that you feel bad. So if you want to change that, you've got to let go of the belief that you're in charge of their emotions. So one of the ways that I did that, one of the first things that I did, and it can be a process, is I started by seeing myself in a hamster ball. What was that? Oh, the red microphone? Thank you. Thanks. So I imagined myself in a hamster ball. Now, the reason I did hamster ball is because of the movie Bolt. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I
That's
did.
why I chose hamster ball, because Rhino was amazing. But I see myself in a hamster ball, and when people respond in an emotional way, I watch it come to the edge of the hamster ball and hit the hamster ball. I can see it, but I don't have to internalize it.
Right.
And the more I could do that, the more I could say, oh, I trust them to handle their own emotions. My intention is good. I trust them to handle their own emotion.
Okay.
Do you hear that?
Yeah. Okay.
And it takes some practice, but that visualization in our mind as you're talking to somebody.
Yeah.
So if I was talking to you at the door and you got upset, I would imagine hitting right here, and I would look at it just slide around here because I don't want it to stay right in front of me.
Right.
I would go, oh yeah, I see that. My intention is still to send good your way.
Yeah.
But I trust you to handle your own emotion and then let it go on.
Okay.
And they'll feel the difference because you didn't internalize it.
Makes sense.
And that, here's another piece that I didn't
Please, yeah.
focus on, is that as I upgrade that program,
Okay.
my subconscious will now defend the new program. So it will send out body language based on the new program. So we can upgrade our body language to change our program.
Okay.
And as we change the programs, it will change our body language. It's a feedback loop, which is a very good feedback loop.
Okay.
So every
Awesome.
time you do that, just like Kathy looking in the mirror and changing her self-talk, what you're doing now, Devin, is you're changing your others' talk. You are now trusting others to manage their own emotions. Kathy is now talking nice about herself and saying, I am worthy and deserving of an upgrade to my programming. You are saying, I trust people to manage their own emotions. Both of those are powerful for upgrading our body language.
Okay.
Cool?
Yes. Thank you.
Are you going to do it?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, round of applause for Devin. So when I left the Master Your Influence class and I was driving home and I'm thinking, I've got to do something different with my body language. And I had no clue what I was going to do. I didn't know. And so I'm driving home, I pull in the garage, I'm walking in the house still thinking about it. I open the door and all my kids happen to be sitting in the family room. And I'm like, oh shoot, here's my chance. What do I do? Running out of time. Hi everyone, I'm home. And my kids are like, what's wrong with mom? I'm like, no, I'm gonna own it. I'm home. And all of a sudden, my 13-year-old ran across the room and hugged me. My kids they were so hungry for me to be open to them that they would take this corny version of mom standing in the doorway over the one that had been pushing them away. It was very quick to get a new result. When I did two things, because look what I did. I tried new body language, and I didn't cower away from it when the thoughts and the triggers from my programming tried to get me to go back to my old programming. I held it, and I felt ridiculous. I'm like, I'm sure I look silly, but I held it. And then my son got the message, and he came and hugged me. So try new body language, you guys. Try new body language. Be willing. You noticed some things when Brenda came up here. Notice she wanted to back away from what we were talking about. Hold your feet. Hold your ground. Hold your new gestures. Like Kathy asked about, hold your hands down to your side, even when it feels awkward. Instead of pushing, let yourself pull. Instead of rejecting a compliment, receive the compliment. The last two on part 1 in those 4 foundational moves. Number 3 says what? What you hold down stays down. And number 4? What you lift grows. So everybody play with me one more time. Do this with your hands. Now, without changing the motion, turn your palms up. How does it feel? So push down. Now, turn your palms up. It gets lighter. It gets lighter. Everything in the world is made out of energy. We change energy when we change body language. Pushing down, this sends a very different message than lifting up. And all it is a switch of where my palm is pointed. When you talk to people, if you talk this way, they will feel suppressed. If you talk this way, they will feel lifted. So pay attention to how you're using your hands. If you pay attention in the email, we talked about being a T-Rex talker. Have you ever seen somebody, they seem to talk in a little box right here, and they can't get their hands out? That shows that box, the edges of that box are put there by your programming. And so if you allow yourself to actually extend your body language, maybe somebody asks you for directions. Instead of going, well, just go down that way and turn left, actually let your elbows straighten and say, go down there and turn left. That will send a very different message to your subconscious about your capacity. Because arms send a message of capacity. What capacity do you have to receive things in your life? If I throw a baseball-sized item to you, you catch it like this. If I throw a yoga ball to you, you catch it like this. What capacity do you have to receive in your life? You check in by noticing, will you let your arms ever during the day go straight, or do you keep them boxed in? Are you a T-Rex talker, or do you allow yourselves to have full capacity? You know, when you guys are door to door and you're asking about their neighbors, do you point like this, or do you point like this? There is a very different message of capacity. It also sends a message of freedom. Because if you talk right here, it sends the message, I am bound by my programming. I am bound, like ropes. I am bound by my programming. But if you send a message of freedom, it's, I don't have ties that are holding me down. My programming. Does that make sense? That's the messages your arms are sending. Every one of your fingers sends a different message. This is why I told Kathy to stand in the mirror and stand still. your fingers are going to want to go, and your knees. Those are usually the first ones, the knees and the fingers. Like when Brenda was up here, she wanted to, the knees send a message about authority. And sometimes we have programs in our subconscious that came from an authority figure in our life. And so our knees will buckle under those programs. So there's really cool things. I highly recommend you learn more about body language. Because you learned something today, yes? Would you pass out that flyer really quick? They have a flyer here about the Master Your Influence class. The Master Your Influence class, we teach it 4 times a year. The next time we teach this class will be on, I believe it's in August 2nd through the 4th. So the next time we teach it is August 2nd through the 4th, or November 1st through the 3rd. If you learn something here in 2.5 hours, how much do you think you would learn in 24 hours at the Salt Palace? It is a powerful class. If you look right here in the lower left-hand corner, it says, at this class you'll get 3 keys to overcoming your mental filters. Because accessing the filter in your mind makes getting goals faster. 15 principal areas of body language. Knowing these areas allows you to understand others better. And 3 effective steps to recalibrate your mind, increase your vision, activate your language, and employ your emotions to achieve any goal. Any goal. So this class is the one that I told you my husband signed me up for. I went to it back in 2010. When you come to this class, we teach it at the Salt Palace. There's about 1,000 people there. And so if you are a networker type of person, you like people, there is a couple of people there. There's 1,000 people. And we're going to teach you about goals. You're going to be in a room of people who are like-minded to you. It's taught at the Salt Palace. When you come the first day, you come a little early so you can get your name tag. They'll also send you your manual for the class in electronic form. Now, electronic form is such a powerful upgrade to the paper ones we used to do because we have links throughout the whole thing to other parts that you can learn. When you come to the class, you want that name tag so that if you volunteer to go on stage and you can't remember your name, you have a cheat sheet right in front of you, okay? We also have screens that are up on both sides of the stage so that everybody has the best seat in the house. A powerful class. Who's coming to this? Awesome, wise people. Who's already come to this? Other wise people. Is it a cool class, you guys? Very powerful. The majority of this class is taught by Kirk Duncan, the owner of the company. Because sometimes people are like, Ann, why aren't you teaching this class? I teach other classes in the company. I teach at Art of Mentoring and Present Yourself. I teach the Break Free Intensive and group mentoring. I also teach this body language class. So if you know groups of people that need training, come talk to me. Because we have many different options for how to get me to come to your people. Because you came to this class today and you put your names in the bowl, I have really quick here some more audio CDs I would like to give away. Would anybody want one of these? Yes. Awesome, that's a good answer. So we have everybody's names right in here. So I have here, these are some of our audio recordings from our audio library. In your other handout that you put on the floor, you can see our different audio offerings. I have another copy of the Don't Dump Your Cup and the Bucket List that I gave to Brenda. And then I have 2 other CDs here. One is called Slay the Dragon. This is about how to journal about the emotions that keep us stuck. And the buffer zone is about how to understand the struggles and the negative things that happen in our lives, how to look at them differently so that we can change them and arrive at our goals faster. So these are very powerful audio CDs. So I would like to give some of them away. Would that be all right? Yes. Okay, so let's pick out some of these. So the first one goes to Braden Roosh. Brandon. Brandon with a Y. Oh, the D you wrote it twice. The D underneath made it look like a Y. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Congratulations, Brandon. The next one goes to Mike Retone. Mike Ratone. All right, here you go. This is where you go, yay! Here you go. Congratulations. You're welcome. The next one goes to Stephanie Andrews. Stephanie Andrews, there you are. Congratulations. Oh, you guys are nice. Round of applause. Andrea Carbine. There she is. There you are. And the next one goes to, oh, I can't read this one. Hey, these are different. That's why this got confusing. You guys have two different forms you filled out. One asked for email and one didn't. That was confusing. I can't read this one. Oh, wait a minute. I think it's Archie. Did you write in red, Archie? All right, Archie, it's for you. There you go. You're welcome. And I need one more. This one goes to Shauna Willis. You're welcome. Congratulations. Hey, you guys, because you came to this body language show today, I have a special offer for you really quick, because I respect the fact of the kind of thinkers I have in the room that would spend the time to travel here and attend this class. You guys that are joining us online, I respect the time that you put out to be here today. So the Master Your Influence class, I just want you to know there's other classes out in the world you can go to. We are not the only place you can learn things on the planet. Are we the only place you can learn it this way? Absolutely. We love and care about people. Our mission is to empower the human family with the skills to free their mind, clear their heart, so they can create what they can envision. That's what we want for people. I know, though, my daughter just attended a class a few months ago in San Diego, 2-day class, and she paid $1,800 for that class. And when she got back, she goes, Mom, I learned way more at Master Your Influence. I learned way more there. And so how much is Master Your Influence? $227. Do you think that we teach it at a lower level because it's a lower tuition? Absolutely not. We do not. But because you guys came here today, I'm going to give you even a better tuition. So if you have not registered for Master Your Influence, or if you have somebody you want to bring with you, I highly recommend you take advantage of this offer. Now, before I write the new number up there, though, I want you to choose in knowing we are going to teach it at this level. And I'm going to give you one other bonus, and that is this. For the first 10 people who register, you can register you or someone else, because my husband registered me, so I get it. I totally get it. I'm going to give you 4 audio recordings. We're going to send them to you as a download. One of them is Building a Mind of Steel, which is about getting the negative comments out of your head and replacing them and upgrading them. It helps a lot with all 3 of these areas of self-talk. Another one is called Perfection is a Direction. If you don't think you get caught in perfectionism, you need to listen to this CD and listen to how we can move forward faster. The third one is one that is called Money Friends. We have a relationship with money. And so if we are not taking care of that relationship, then we are defaulting to whatever our programming has taught us. And then the 4th CD is one that is called, because of Kathy, it is called Speaking Eye to Eye, how we can learn through eye contact. So those 4 audio CDs will be my gift to you for registering for the Master Your Influence while you're here today. So the first 10 people will get all 4 of those. Everybody who registers will get the Building a Mind of Steel CD. Everyone will get that one. But the first 4 people will get all 4 of those audio CDs. Does that make sense? Okay, so besides the question about what the new number is I'm going to put up there, are there any other questions about Master Your Influence? We answer them? Okay. So when you come to the class, the one thing I ask is that you say hi to me. Come say hi to me at the class, because I'll be there. And I love cheering people forward. If you are interested in my group mentoring, come talk to me after the class, because people who come to the body language class and they want to move forward in that direction, I am greatly interested in how their minds work. And so I will give you special tuition to be at my next group mentoring. Okay, so here is your special tuition, which for the first 10 people will include all of those 4 audio CDs. You can come on August or November. If those don't work for you, you can ask them when the next class will be. So the number is 79. So to get that offer, you go out the door right here and you talk to Ammon or whoever's at the front desk. They'll help you register. First 10 people will get those 4 CDs. Everybody gets the special tuition. Cool? All right, give yourselves a big round of applause for being here this morning. Thank you. Thank you.